Okay, here we are at the grand offices of Nuclear Blast Records, and I'm here with TOBIAS SAMMET, lead singer of Edguy, who on April the 18th have a new album. It's called Space Police, Defenders of the Crown. How are you, TOBIAS?
I'm perfect. I'm fine. I'm perfect. No, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Great to be back in England. Talking about a great album.
And let's talk about it, because it's the 10th album, and let's start with the album title. You know, because it's Space Police, Defenders of the Crown. It's a long title, but what can we read into that?
Not too much, actually. We were not really. We did not know what the title should be. I mean, we were thinking the first title we had was Defenders of the Crown, because we wanted to have something monumental, and we wanted to have a title that would incorporate the band's irony in a way and tongue-in-cheekness, but at the same time we wanted to have a cocky title, Defenders of the Crown. I mean, we've always done what we believed in, and we thought, if we're not the defenders of the heavy metal crown, then who is? So, very modest, I know, very humble. That was the working title for the album, and then all of a sudden we had that song Space Police, which is not as goofy as it sounds now, but it's a great song. And we were just thinking Space Police would be a great album title as well. I mean, it's nothing you would expect from a heavy metal band. And that's why we thought it was great. It was a title that Frank Zappa could come up with, or David Bowie, or the great art rock bands of the 70s. So we combined both and just said, okay, let's make it a double title. It's
great, actually. I'll just get onto the Space Police part in a minute. And you're right, you just said Defenders of the Crown, and you are in many ways, because like during the grunge era, sort of early 90s when Edguy started, and we've been going 22 years now, and heavy metal was dead and buried in some ways, and you were Defenders of the Crown. You did keep the heavy metal flag flying.
Well, we always did things our way, and that was not, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, every heavy metal band will say that, and probably many of them also did.
But I think you can rightly say you are.
But it was really difficult. Yeah. It was really difficult because nobody wanted to hear that kind of music. We were coming from nowhere in the middle of Germany. There was no scene. There was nothing. We were 14-year-old kids, and we've been told in our career. We've been told so often that you must not do this and you must not do that. Don't say that in order to sell records. We always went our own way. We did a lot of things that were not smart from a business point of view. But, I mean, at least we did not starve, and we just plowed our way. We're not the Rolling Stones, but we are a band that is doing decently in many territories. So we kind of did things our way, and I think that's the ultimate spirit of heavy metal. It's not, living up to expectations and fulfilling cliches and talking about how heavy metal you are, which in fact I'm doing right now. But it's really, I think we've always done things differently, and we were honest, and that's, I think, the spirit of heavy metal and rock and roll. Be honest, live your dream, fulfill your dreams, have your vision and go for it, and don't think about what you must do or must not do, or what you must say, how to behave on stage, how to behave off stage, what to put on the cover artwork. Oh, it has to be a dragon, and put a sword and a knight here. It needs to be, it's better for marketing. We didn't do it. We're honest, we're authentic in a way, and we're not as big as some bands who probably listen to those rules, but
well, what you just said is exactly why the fans love you. And just carrying on with the title theme and Space Police, and obviously I'm an older rock fan myself, and the first thing that sprung to my mind was Cheap Trick, Dream Police.
Oh,
remember that album?
That was not what I thought of. I thought it was just, but it's a little bit like that. It's it's the Space Police are. To me, they are the people who try to come up with rules in fields where there should be no rules, which heavy metal and rock and roll is. When I was a young musician, I started out and I wanted to fulfill my dreams and live my dreams and have nobody to tell me what to do. When you do an album and you're a rebel and you're an outlaw, you do an album, some people like it. You do the second album, more people like it. You do the third album, and all of a sudden people come up with rules and say, oh, now you should do things that way. If you want to be a true outlaw, you should live by the following rules. And then they come with all those rules, so you are a good rebel. That didn't make sense to me. And Space Police are those who try to come up with moral rules, or with certain ways to, or who try to tell you how to behave, actually. And I think in heavy metal it's not needed,
And tell us about the artwork, because the artwork obviously is there, Space Police, you've got a policeman on there, and it looks like some sort of space sort of praying mantis. Who did the artwork?
It was an American art professor. He's from Colorado, and we wanted to have something that people would scratch their heads when they look at it, and I think we achieved that. You know, it's a bit 80s, it's a bit porn style in a way. It's got that, you know.
It's got a policeman with a tash.
Yeah, it's the bravado that you had in classic Burt Reynolds movies. You know, a hot shot with a gun, and of course it's a bit goofy. It's not goofy. It's a bit 80s, I would say. But it's great. It's a great artwork. And if you would replace the cop and put Eddie there from Iron Maiden, it would be the perfect heavy metal cover.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think Iron Maiden would not have liked us if we would have put Eddie in our cover. So we said, okay, let's have a guy with a moustache. It's almost as scary as Eddie.
I was like, look good. And let's talk about some of the song titles. And well, obviously, there's always a bit of humour in Edguy, and which I'll touch on in a minute actually, but let's go for the album titles first. You've got the Realms of Baba Yaga. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, but that's actually not a true story, but it's actually a serious song. It's Baba Yaga is the mother of witches of the Eastern folklore, and you know, there's a lot of fairy tale movies they broadcast, at least in Germany, around Christmas, from old Russian fairy tale movies. Some are ridiculous, but they're lovely in a way. And Baba Yaga is the mother of all witches, and I just try to use that as a metaphor for anything dangerous. When I was a kid, I always wanted to hear scary tales. You know, I knew right from the start that afterwards I would, you know, shit my pants, being scared to death. But I wanted to hear them again and again, and that's how the human nature works. I think we always want to be. Expose ourselves to situations that we know about, that they're no good for us or do us no good, and it's you know, it's about situations when actually curiosity are stronger than, and temptation is stronger than reason, you know. And you can you know, you can read a lot into that song. It could be about nuclear power, or it could be about substance abuse, it could be about anything where you expose yourself to danger knowingly, but still you cannot, you know, you cannot really do anything about it. You have to go. So Realms of Baba Yaga is actually not really as funny as the title sounds. But I know, I've been told by other journalists.
Well, it's an original title, you know, there's not really heavy metal songs out there with that in the titles.
In fact, it happens to be a porn movie.
Oh, really?
Not the Realms of Baba Yaga, it was probably something else of Baba Yaga. But it was Baba Yaga, I think it was, but I was told by journalists, it's got nothing to do with our
So I won't find no dodgy videos under your bed. And there's another song in there called Do Me Like a Caveman, and maybe I should say that if we're alone together in this room now.
Well, you know, it's that's actually about a true story as well. It's not as well, but that's a true story. It's a very serious song in the beginning. It's about the feeling when you get off stage, and you're pumped up with adrenaline, and then you go to your hotel room. You're on your own. You're staring at the ceiling, and you just want to calm down, and you just need to get some sleep for the next show and the next night. And you know, it's all the contrast between show and hotel and silence on your own is so huge. It's sometimes depressing. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody in the room next to you who obviously isn't being on his own, and and then you hear all of a sudden you hear all weird kinds of not quotes, but sentences, and you hear weird talk and weird noises. I mean, it's not so weird, but you know, I've heard really, really strange stuff, and Do Me Like a Caveman sums that all up pretty much. And it's nobody of the traveling party of our band, just before the wives of the others, you know, get mad at me and say, hey, Toby, listen to you while you were...
Actually, you just mentioned, before carrying on the album title, you just mentioned like when you do a concert, obviously there must be an amazing feeling, you know, you just played in front of a few thousand people, you come on stage, and like I say, you need to wind down, but sometimes you need to get some shut-eye because you've got to travel, play the next town the very next day. So how do you shut off? You know, how do you sleep after a gig?
You know, usually I try to have either a beer or a glass of red wine, sometimes, not every time. And then I go to the hotel and then I sometimes play PlayStation, and which is, I know it's quite nerdy, but what can you do? I mean, it's when we were young, we were going out and getting drunk.
And you can't do that every night you're on tour.
No, you can't do it every night. We're getting older. Nowadays, if I get drunk, I suffer 1 week. You can't afford that on tour. So no, it's really I just watch a movie or just sleep. There's certain ways of doing it.
And let's go back to the album again. There's another track, and I think some people have sort of described it as sort of jazz metal. Is that right? Love Tiger.
Jazz metal?
Yeah, I read somewhere today online.
Okay, it's jazz metal. I don't know. I don't know. Jizz metal.
Jizz metal. Yeah, maybe I misread it.
I don't know. I think it's a typical Edguy track. It's. I don't know what it is. I mean, I've never been too crazy about pigeonholes, but jazz metal. I certainly think it's not jazz metal. It's a cock rock, glam rock, heavy metal song. I mean, it's not really glam rock because it's too much metal for it. But it's not really. Some people would argue it's not metal because it's too much glam rock. I don't know. It's somewhere in between. It's Edguy.
Yeah, good. And you've done a cover version for this album, and I think it might surprise a lot of metal fans. It's a massive hit for Austrian artist Falco in 1985, Rock Me Amadeus.
Yeah.
Why have you chosen to do that song?
I've always been a huge fan of Falco, and we always wanted to do a song of Falco. We were planning to do Der Kommissar, another hit single he had 2 years earlier, I think. But our producer, Sasha Payet, he said, like, that doesn't really fit the band. Do the song. I mean, it's about drugs, and we're a non-drug band. Although sometimes you don't think that when you hear what we say on stage. But anyway, we always liked that song and that artist. But Rock Me Amadeus is way more difficult to cover. But Sasha said it's self-ironic.
Because he sang it like in a rap in some ways, isn't he? Originally.
Falco.
Yeah.
No.
It's sort of like a rap. It's quite fast talking in the verses.
Yeah, but he's, I don't know, I think he's an Austrian all the way. He used to be an Austrian all the way through. I mean, and he's pretty typical Viennese, I think. It's like the way that's the most difficult part of it. I try to sound like him, and he's got a very strong Viennese accent, and that's, for German-speaking people, that's the biggest part of the personality of the song. So that was really difficult, but the song is self-indulgent, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's a bit arrogant, but it's not too serious as well, and anthemic. So Sasha was absolutely right. That's a great song to be.
Well, so he was a massive hit in Germany and Austria. You just said he's quite a well-known artist in Austria and Germany, but I think in America and England he's like a one-hit wonder. He didn't really have any other hit singles. So, would you recommend rock fans to check out the work of Falco?
Well, you can listen to. I think the real big hits he had. He had just 2 or 3 big hits. That was it. He had there was a Scandal later on, a Scandal song called Genie. But I would recommend the whole album that where Rock Me Amadeus is on. Because there's songs like America, it's great stuff, and a lot of stuff he's done is not as strong in my opinion. But the good songs that he's done, they are extremely good.
And a bit of trivia: that song "Rock Me Amadeus" is written by Falco, but also the Dutch duo production guys. Boland and Boland.
Yeah, they were writing it.
Yes, and they also wrote Status Quo's in the army now.
Really?
Yeah, bit of trivia for you.
Okay, but I think they are huge songwriters. I think they wrote a lot of a lot of
late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. And one thing I did surprise me, you did cover that song because quite a few rock bands have covered it. Actually, there was like a German industrial band called Megahertz in '98 have done it, and there's another German goth band. I don't know if I pronounce this right. Umber et Amigo, and also Die Totenhusen did a version of it on a bonus disc last year. So were you aware that other bands have done cover versions of it before?
I know that some German Schlager singer, a female one, did a cover version of Falco. I've heard 2 very bad live. Die Totenhusen.
Yeah.
I've heard their live version. I did not really like it that much. They're a great band, but I think their Falco version sucks. So Well, I can't say that.
Of course you can.
I mean, it's nothing personal. They're probably great people. We played with them actually in Romania. But you know, I think I've spoken to a guy from Vienna, and Falco, you have to know, he's a very big legend in Austria. He's a national hero, so to speak. And he said that the journalist, not Falco, he said that he has never heard a cover version that is that great, even from professional tribute acts. I mean, they have professional authorized tribute acts. The heirs of Falco really authorized people to do it and to carry on the legacy of Falco and do tribute shows. And he said, like, he's never heard anything that close. Now, an Austrian saying that about a German covering their national hero, you know, that's like making Franz Beckenbauer your national coach in football. Yeah. You know, your team manager. So it's like that's something that's the biggest compliment.
And what we ever does, would it be a single, or is it just going to be like an album track?
It will be an album track. We wanted to make it a single, but the record label, the German ones, not the English ones. They are the nice guys. No, the main office, they really wanted to take the song off the album. We said no. We wanted to make it a single, but they said like, no, go for the meat and potato stuff. So
what will be the single from the album?
Love Tiger.
Oh, Love Tiger.
Love
okay.
Tiger, yeah.
And he done some classic videos in the past, like Robin Hood, superheroes. So would this be like sort of a similar sort of move? Would it be like a happy-go-lucky video?
Well, we will do a video for that one, but it will be an animated one.
Oh wow!
So we wanted to do something different this time. I mean, we've had so many occasions where we've proven how lousy we act. You know? So this time we said, like, let somebody just draw us and make us look good by drawing us. Yeah. It's just, we're lousy actors, and video shootings are no fun at all. Yeah. It sucks, like miming to a song all the time. You know?
Yeah, playing the same song over and over again all day long.
Over.
And let's talk about, you know, we sort of, it's like an in-joke here in England to see Germans and have a sense of humour. And like I know myself, when I travel around the world, my English humour is lost on some people. So does the German humour translate in all territories?
No, it does not. But I don't think we have a typical German humour. In some points we have, but I like, you know, I always say, and that's not because I'm here in England. I always said that I feel like I'm born in the wrong body. You know, I'm an Englishman in the shell of a German. You know, I'm gonna have surgery actually. It's you know, I don't really think there's a lot of great German humor. There is good German humor, but I like, you know, English humor is more, it's more to the point. It's direct and it's merciless at times, but I like it. You know, you're either good or you're not good, and you know. It doesn't translate. German humor doesn't translate anywhere, but I don't think we have a typical German. At least I don't have a typical German humor. I don't think so.
Oh, I like it. And let's talk about the touring plans. You haven't announced too many touring dates. You are playing in the UK actually in September, Manchester, Nuneaton, Islington. That's in the middle of September. And you're playing a couple of festivals like Sweden and Slovakia. So for this album, are you going to do like mainly club dates and then do the festivals next year?
Yeah, but we'll do a full European tour. I mean, it's not just those 3 shows.
No, that's announced so far, yeah.
Well, we're gonna do in September and October. We're gonna do like, I don't know, 30 or 35, 40 shows, and then we will do a festival appearances next year.
You've got one date lined up in Germany so far at Hamburg on the 19th of September. It's the Metal Days. Can you tell us more about that? Exactly, what is Metal Days?
I think it's just a small festival, a small indoor festival. It's really funny because usually when we play in Hamburg, we played a bigger theatre. This time we're going to a club and play a festival there. I don't know really what's the idea behind that, but it's the organisers who do Wacken, and we have a very good relationship to them. That's why we said, okay, we're going to headline your small indoor festival and make it the start of our tour.
Because Hamburg's always a great city to visit, you know, many people from England, you know, any excuse to go to Hamburg.
It is, yeah. It's a party city.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about some of your festival appearances over the year, because first time I saw you actually was Bloodstock in 2006. And Bloodstock Festival then was like a brand new festival. It was like indoors and it went outdoors, and you headlined it actually in 2006. I don't know if you remember that.
But that was not the first time.
No, I think that was the second outdoor festival.
Yeah, well, I think
you played it before. It was indoor, I believe.
We played indoor in 2000 and...
About 4, I think.
I don't know, we played indoor probably in 2004, we played outdoor twice.
That's right, you played that in 2010?
Three times, no, but we played in 2005 I think as well.
Ah.
That was when we played in the afternoon, then we headlined.
Yeah, 2006 you headlined, and as with Stratofarius they played the day later. And it's quite early, like Bloodstock now sort of gains like 10,000–15,000 people. When you played it was quite a new festival, and it's like 1,000 people. What was your memories of that day?
It was great, I think Bob was there.
Yeah, Bob Keatley was there, yeah. I remember backstage actually.
I think his manager filmed the whole show and gave the tape to me afterwards. So it was great. I think Metal Church played.
That's right,
Yeah. It was great. It was our first open air headlining performance in England. I think it was our last as well. So obviously we must have done something wrong.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I thought like, wow, we're invincible. We can do everything. We're going to be headliners from now on. Here in England, UK, we're coming. And then, you know, I don't know, we played in the afternoon again, you know, a couple of years later. So, but it was great. I think it was not because we were so bad. It's because Bloodstock grew.
Exactly, Bloodstock was growing, yes.
And so...
It's like you were pioneers of that outdoor festival in some ways. And you've played all over the world. Like you played Loud Park in Germany, you played the Wackens. What's been your favourite festival appearance in your career?
I don't know. The name, you know, I like Donington. It was not exactly the stage I envisioned when I was...
Yeah, it's changed now. It's kind of a download festival now.
Oh, we're going to play Donington, and then you're, wow, this is a 10. And this is actually a pretty small stage, and it's bright out there. But I think we were the only German band playing there at that issue of the festival. I don't know, it was, you know, headlining Wacken. That was, every time we did it, especially the first time I did it with Avantasia, that was amazing, like having, you know, officially 80,000, but, you know, there's rumors that it's a 6-digit figure. You know, having all those people there, singing along to every song, primetime show, TV broadcast, and you're there and you said like, wow, I started back then, it was 16 years ago or something like that. And I started 16 years ago. And I never could even envision what this is going to be like, and you were there. I mean, it was like flying on autopilot. That was a memorable thing. But of course, Sweden rock is always great. You know, playing Swedish festival in general. You know, when the sun doesn't you know come down. And doesn't go down. It's you know. But Wacken is probably the most memorable one because it was so huge.
Look, I've been there as a fan a few times, and it is massive. We call it like in England, we call it like the Glastonbury of metal. You know, it's like a village for the day. You know.
It's so mad. When you look into the ocean of people, it's unbelievable.
And let's just briefly talk about Avantasia, because you've been very successful with that, and in some territories you could say it's more successful than Edguy. Do you ever get like a conflict of interest with Avantasia and the rest of the guys in Edguy?
Well, the rest of the guys have conflict of interest. No, I don't really think so. I mean, of course, I always want to do just one thing at a time, and Avantasia is not as time consuming. It's a solo project. It is still. I mean, it's not a solo project. Sounds cocky because I know that I depend on a lot of great people that make Avantasia what it is. But it's me making the decisions, me setting the pace, and that's we played. I think the last tour was by far the longest tour we've ever done. That was 31 shows. That's not really anything compared to what we do with Edguy. So there's not really a conflict.
And could you, obviously with Avantasia, you get a whole host of stars and you get some big names now as well. And could you ever see one day Edguy putting on a similar sort of show, inviting loads of guests and putting on a big grand show? Well, something like Wacken maybe,
Well, that does make sense. I mean, because I do it with Avantasia, that would even, a lot of people say like, oh, songwriting wise, it's getting closer and closer, which I think is normal because I'm writing songs for Edguy and for Avantasia. But, that would even make it, mix even more, everything would mingle together and,
Yeah, okay. And let's talk about the name Edguy, because it's sort of named after a sort of nickname for a former maths teacher from your school days.
He was called Edguy. It was not even a nickname. It was just we were looking for a band name. We thought, oh, we have to come up with a name, because back then I have learned from the Gene Simmons School of Music Business that you should have a name that nobody else can have. So we said, oh, we cannot take a word that's already been in the dictionary. We have to come up with one. And I mean, compared to the ideas we had before, which were Grim Reaper, we didn't know there was a band existing called Grim Reaper. We had a name called Revenge. Those names were you know, our first ideas, and then we said, no, we have to come up with our own name, and we stuck with Edguy. And unfortunately, nobody interfered. You know, usually I'm happy when nobody of the rest of the guys interferes with my decisions, but I said, like, why not call it Edguy? And they said, oh, well, that's a great idea. Yeah. And here we are, you know, it's too late to change. I mean, I made up for it because I think Avantasia is quite a great name for a band.
Is Mr. Edguy, is he aware that you name from him?
I don't know. He was not really, he was a weird teacher. He was not a teacher that we had a lot of respect for. So I'm not sure. He was nice in a way. Yeah. You know, now I would probably have respect for him.
Well, we should track him down and put him in a video.
You know, I don't know what he's doing now. I think he was old back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even alive anymore. But I don't know if he ever heard about it.
Great story. And before I wrap this interview up, I always like to ask people, you know, what music did you listen to when you was growing up?
When I was growing up?
Yeah. What was the first record you bought?
The first record I bought was Kiss Dressed to Kill. Oh, but the first record I actually listened to, knowingly that I was listening to something I wanted to listen to, that was AC/DC, If You Want Blood, and AC/DC Back in Black. They were on the tape of my brother, and they were one was on one side, one on the other side. I was 4 years old. And it started with AC/DC, then there was Kiss, and then there was Deep Purple, there was Def Leppard, there was Halloween, Iron Maiden, the classics. I mean, it's a Wasp, those kinds of bands.
I think I'm still saying great today. And what was the first concert you ever went to?
I think it must have been a German band called Running Wild.
Oh yeah.
I was 15 years old, and the funny thing is, we had played shows by that time ourselves.
Oh wow.
So,
you started young, yeah.
Yeah, well, the first show we played, I was 14 years old, but I had never seen a concert of another band back then. So I did not have any blueprint, I did not have anything to copy. Of course, I had that videotape of Let There Be Rock of AC/DC, so I knew what Bon Scott was doing, but he had chest hair, and I didn't. I mean, I didn't. So it was really weird. I didn't have any stage antics to copy. We were doing our own shows before we went to see someone else play, and that was Running Wild. That was weird. Yeah, the first time I saw another band.
And do you still follow the current scene? Obviously, you're busy with your own band, but are you aware of the current scene and the other bands that are around? Is there any band that stick out for you?
Now, when you're an artist yourself, you have to live in a bubble and ignore. No, that's bullshit. Of course, I listen to other bands, but that's what they usually say.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't listen to music. I don't, you know, because I don't want to have it, you know, interfere with my inspiration. Bullshit. I listen to music all the time. I listen to Journey, to Def Leppard, to Iron Maiden, Saxon, Magnum, Scorpions. You know, of course, I follow the scene, and Heat.
Yeah, Heat, right?
They've just their new album out.
Yeah.
Oh, I think pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming out. So Tearing Down the Walls, yes, that's.
Great stuff. Great stuff. My wife is a journalist, so I had the chance to listen to that.
So you bought a copies.
No, well, you know, I just listen. I'm not allowed to touch them. I just listen, you know, when she listens. You know, when I come to the kitchen and it's running in the back. So oh, that's great. What's that? Is that Heat? Yes.
You just mentioned Heat, and there's like bands like yourself, Edguy, and there's a massive crop of bands from Scandinavia and Germany over the last 10 years have come out with some excellent albums, but for some reason they're not quite breaking the American market. You know, why is that exactly?
I don't know, because it's, I mean, they say that you have to tour America coast to coast, back and forth, in order to do something, to move something on that market. And then when you want to do it, they say like, oh, bringing rock and roll to America is like bringing ice cubes, selling ice cubes to the Eskimos. You know, I don't know what the true reason is. I mean, it's really difficult. It's such a big country, and it hasn't got a real scene.
I think the same argument can be said. There's a lot of American bands over the years never broken into Europe for that very same reason, actually.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't actually know why. It's just probably because the American music scene, they are not interested in, especially in German bands. I mean, nobody really was interested in German bands for a long time. I think there's a historic background because of that as well. But anyway, we come in peace.
Don't mention that.
Don't mention the war. You know, it's. Don't mention the war. you know, it's like, I don't know, this is not the problem anymore. That was probably the problem 20, 30 years ago. And the Scorpions kind of really did well. I mean, they were in all these territories. For the first time, the Germans were coming in peace, you know, with guitars, and that was a great thing. I think the Scorpions did a great job. They were pioneers, and it's like, I mean, we're doing reasonably good in the USA for a German heavy metal band. I mean, we can play in the main areas like Los Angeles or New York. We can sell out clubs, but that's it. I mean, while we're playing halls and bigger venues in certain places, we cannot do that in America, which is a shame in a way, but on the other hand, it's just like, you know, I prefer playing clubs, you know, it's more intimacy, and it's more, you know, you're closer to the audience, you get a smaller paycheck, it's just, everything is a bit... Everything's a bit more.
And you just mentioned the Scorpions, and you've toured with the Scorpions actually 3 years ago, and obviously a world-class band, and I've been fortunate myself to see them in various countries. And what have the Scorpions taught you in stage of like presentation and using the band as a business model?
What were the Scorpions?
Well, yeah, what the Scorpions taught you? Because obviously they work in a much bigger, they've got much bigger management and more professional. I mean that in a nasty way, but
yeah, I understand. You're right. The interview's over now. No, they are. You know, it's just. I mean, I don't know. It was great to do that arena tour, and it was. I mean, that was like selling out places every night for 15,000 people. That was great, and you know. But it's like this band is very very dear to us, and they are. They also, their whole business environment was really nice to us, because they wanted to have us on that tour. It was not that like we applied to be their special guest. We were asked, and that's a different story then. Then you're feeling welcome on such a tour, and that was I don't know what they're doing differently. I mean, they've been around for 40 years to begin with, or 45 years, and they've probably received like 50 platinum and gold awards, so there is a difference. And they wrote...
And that career has been up and down as well, so it just shows you just keep up what you're doing. And
yeah, definitely, but you know, before it went down for the first time, they had been right on top, you know, it was quite obvious that it would go down from there, because where can you go from top if not down? It's really great to talk to those guys, and it's really great to be allowed into their inner circle and tour with them. That was a great experience, and they're nice guys, and whenever we meet someone playing a festival together, it's always a great chemistry. So we are thankful that we have been given the chance to be on that tour.
Fantastic. And Tobias, before I wrap this interview up, any message for your fans out there?
No. No, well, you know, you would do me a big favor if you would buy the record. It's Edguy, Space Police, Defenders of the Ground. Seriously, just listen to the record, and if you like it, buy it. It's a great album, I think. We've recorded it in a very short time span. It's a very spontaneous album. It's very instinctive. It's a great album, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in September on tour, Manchester, Nuneaton, and London.
Correct.
Is it Nuneaton?
Nuneaton, yes. It's up in it's near sort of Birmingham way, Warwickshire.
Nuneaton.
Nuneaton, yes. There's no nuns there.
What's the nun?
There's no hungry nuns in Nuneaton. Tobias, it's been great talking to you. You can talk all day. The album Space Police, Defenders of the Ground, out on April the 18th on Nuclear Blast. Tobias, fantastic. All the best for the future. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.